You stand on that corner, and I'm going to stand on this corner. Okay, guys? That it, where Steve is on one corner, I'm on the other corner. That's the size of the stand.
The Boot Dusseldorf Boat Show is the premier indoor boat show in the world. Now in its 49th year, it will feature 1,900 exhibitors from 68 countries over 8 days.
It's the biggest water sport event in the world. We expect 250,000 visitors. This is a huge platform. It's an international platform. So people from all over the world come visiting Boot Dusseldorf in January.
For the last 5 years, Princess Yachts have exhibited the largest boat at Boot Dusseldorf. And this year is no different.
Put a gate in here.
Put a gate in there, yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
On loan from a customer, they'll be showing the 35M, their 35-meter and 170-ton super yacht. But getting a yacht this size into the exhibition hall is one of the most challenging operations Princess Yachts has ever undertaken. The 35M that will feature in the show is based in Mallorca, Spain, and sailing it to Dusseldorf is not an option, as Princess wouldn't want to put any unnecessary engine hours on a customer's yacht. The only way to get it to the show is to ship it.
But would you think that is a definite, that's a definite, it's got to happen?
Maximum distance is 20 metres and we're at 35.
Brilliant, 35.
3 months before the show opens, Bill Barrow, International Sales Manager for Princess Yachts, has assembled the partners involved in the shipping of the 35M to go through every logistical and technical detail of the project.
We're lucky enough to have an owner that has lent us the boat for the duration of the show. But obviously it's our responsibility to ensure that that yacht is looked after in absolutely perfect fashion. Remember, we're dealing with a 12.5, 13 million pound yacht. There's no room for error in terms of picking it up, putting it down, and looking after it. The main gates are just around the corner, so if we walk down here, we'll see the main gates, cross the road, and then access to the Rhine, where we're going to build the ramp.
The distance from the yacht's permanent residence in Mallorca to Dusseldorf is more than 2,400 miles. It's a 7-day journey by sea, river, and road.
The boat has got to stay 100% level. She's very high, she's very big on the row, so there's no room for her to rock or to move.
Yeah, but she will stay absolutely level.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 35-meter being one of the largest boats that has ever gone to Dusseldorf, it's quite a challenge. There's a lot of engineering involved with regards to the cradle on which the boat needs to sit during the barging. And then ultimately also the consideration of bridges across the Rhine, because we can't, of course, control the water levels on the Rhine. There are a lot of people involved in this, and it ends up being a success only if we all look at all the details throughout the entire move.
This is the biggest project we've ever done in our history in terms of an indoor boat show. To take that boat in the Western Mediterranean and put her into the centre of Germany in the middle of winter is an absolutely huge task. Today was all about getting all our suppliers and the Messe Dusseldorf around the table. A chance for everybody to look eye to eye, to be absolutely sure what everybody is going to do on time, on date, and they're happy with all the build plans.
After 8 months of planning, the team are finally satisfied that all their logistical and engineering requirements have been met. And the 35M, known as El Guajiro, is ready to begin its journey to the Dusseldorf Boat Show.
We've come today with some of my colleagues from Princess to go through the boat with the owner's skipper to make sure he's comfortable with the move. Obviously, we need to ensure that she's absolutely perfect when she's returned after her 2 months away.
We have contracted Seven Star to ship the boat from Mallorca to Dusseldorf and then Dusseldorf back to Mallorca, so it's the whole move all the way through.
El Guajiro's journey will consist of 2 main stages. The first is a 5-day sailing from Mallorca to Rotterdam aboard a transport vessel. The vessel will travel south from Mallorca, around the tip of Spain, and then up along the coast of Portugal, through the Bay of Biscay and up to the English Channel in the port of Rotterdam. In Rotterdam, the 35M will be loaded onto a barge before embarking on the second leg of the journey, a 200-mile trip along the River Rhine to its final destination in Dusseldorf.
To get to Rotterdam, obviously we've got to ship this boat aboard a ship. Not the best time of year to take a boat as deck cargo up through Biscay and up through the western approaches. So preparations for that are major. She's got to be right.
All the small items of crockery are individually wrapped. All the plates are individually wrapped. Every single part of this boat that can possibly move has to be wrapped, has to be lashed down and made secure. The depth of protection, as you can see in the windows, is full. We have the storm shutters in. Again, obviously this boat's got to go through the Bay of Biscay, so she's got to be absolutely protected. We don't want any windows damaged or broken, so storm shutters throughout the boat. We're now in Port Adriano, where the boat is based. The boat will lift aboard to ship in Palma. So she yet has to go to sea for a few miles before, as I said, before being lifted. So this area still has to be fully functioning and working.
It's 6 a.m. in Port Adriano, and the crew set off on the 24 nautical mile trip to the port of Palma, where El Guajiro will be loaded onto the specialist yacht transport vessel that will take it to Rotterdam.
Okay, so let's clear this up, make some space.
The vessel that will carry El Guajiro to Rotterdam is called the Scheldegracht, a 16,500-ton cargo ship, staffed with crew specialized in moving large yachts.
So basically right now we're just setting up the lift gear, getting the deck ready, get everything nice and prepared, nice and cleaned up. As soon as we got that ready, then we're going to position the belts under the yacht, get some weight in the belts, and start to lift it out the water. Sí, hay que separar las cunas de aquí, o sea, 4 a lo largo de esto. So once we have this in position, we can start to place the belts. The one that we're going to load is about 175 tons on paper. It's a big puppy.
2 divers are dispatched to secure 4 lifting straps around the yacht. Each strap is able to hold 50 tons of weight.
Divers happy with that? Sit. Sit. Okay, so basically now we've got some weight in the belts. We've got these white covers here in between the belts and the yacht. Just ballasting the ship level now. Yeah, so far so good. Everything looks pretty good. We've got about 40% of the weight in the hooks now. And yeah, everything looks safe and ready to lift.
It's high value cargo, precious cargo. A lot of preparation involved, you know, all the equipment, the material, lifting plans, lashing plans. They're busy already for months with this, so it takes time. I have the simple job, just sailing from A to B, you know.
Chief. Yeah, if you look at the waterline, it looks stern down, but the keel looks a little bit bow down. I get it a little bit more bow down. Yeah, stop. Let's check it out. Pushing a bit. We wait for the outdoor ballast. So far, so good. It's looking beautiful, magical. Okay, you're just slewing with number 2 now. Looks like it's pushing on the bow. Okay, good. Distance. Hey, stop, stop, stop. Slew number 2 over. 2 meters. So let's slew number 2 over. Yeah, pushing a little bit. Distance, bows. Straight. Your weekly cardio. Esto. Estas maderas las echamos abajo. We're spreading out the wood now, get it roughly in position where we're going to build the blocks, and now Chief is going to lower down the boat, get a little bit closer to deck. All right, let's spread some timber out. 3 montones, 3 de alto. Bueno, da igual, mientras los pongamos y sean todos. Got to move these blocks over. Okay, stop there, Chief. Okay, hard part's done. Boat's on the woods. Got to do some lashing, cradling, welding, and she's good to sail.
The biggest worry for us is now to get out here as soon as possible, because we have to pass Portugal and Biscay, and really bad weather is coming up from the Atlantic. So we try to get into the English Channel before the bad weather hits.
A ship the size of the Scheldegracht can carry close to its own weight in cargo. The combined weight of El Guajiro and the other yachts on board is relatively small, so the ship has been ballasted with 10,000 tons of water to maintain stability through the rough seas of the Bay of Biscay.
Obviously, Bay of Biscay, middle of winter, is not a very happy place to move a big ship with very valuable boats on board. And this is where it really is important to have the right partners. And the partnership we have with Seven Star has been fantastic. The loading took place quickly, very timely, and has allowed the boat to catch a weather window. So the weather up through Biscay has been pretty much flat, or as flat as it can be in December.
5 days after leaving the port of Palma, El Guajiro arrives in Rotterdam aboard the Scheldegracht.
There it is. Can't miss that. Split off, everything's there.
With the first leg of the journey complete, the Seven Star loading team are preparing to lift El Guajiro off the Scheldegracht and onto the barge which will carry it upriver to Dusseldorf.
At the moment they're lifting the 160-ton spreader beam. Now this is really unforgiving kit. There's no room for error. If these guys get it wrong, it's a hand, it's a foot. They have to be really professional in everything that they do.
When the bulk of the yacht's 170 tons has been shifted into the lifting hooks, the straps are removed and the welding points broken. To take advantage of favorable weather conditions and stay on schedule, Bill is keen to set off up the Rhine as soon as possible and travel through the night. As the sun sets, the preparations are finally complete and the team are ready for the lift.
Power distance on the other side. Get up. It's going ready, it's perfect. We'll just try to get the yacht in between the cranes. And then it's a little bit of a puzzle, but getting there. No worries, all good.
Nearly the end of the day. Boat is literally about a foot off the cradle. Probably about another hour's work to get her down level, but the end of a good day. Wet, dark, cold in Rotterdam, but a good job done by some very professional people.
The second leg of the journey presents the team with a different set of challenges. The barge has to travel 200 miles along the Rhine to its final destination in Dusseldorf. The Rhine's water levels can rise and fall sharply, and the margins to get under its many bridges are extremely small. When the water level rises, the barge is ballasted with extra water, lowering it by as much as a meter, so it can pass safely under the bridges. While the barge and El Guajiro navigate the banks and bridges of the Rhine, in Dusseldorf, the other boats that will be exhibited at the boat show are starting to arrive. Tasked with lifting them out of the water and onto the trucks that will transport them into the exhibition hall is the unsung hero of the event, the hydraulic hoist known as Big Willie.
This is the famous Big Willie behind me. It's an absolutely unique slipway hoist. You'll find nothing else like it anywhere in the world. Dusseldorf Boat Show commissioned Big Willie 40 years ago just for this boat show. So she does 40 to 50 lifts a year and then goes to sleep. But it is an amazing bit of kit. Without it, we couldn't do this show.
As well as being a one-of-a-kind, Big Willie is a bit of a local celebrity. Passers-by have gathered to see her in action on this commemorative 40th year. But even this iconic hoist has its limitations. After 27 hours on the Rhine, El Guajiro arrives in Düsseldorf. But as the largest boat at this year's show, the 35M's 170 tons is far beyond the lifting capacity of Big Willie. Instead, it will be rolled off. When it was lifted from the Scheldegracht onto the barge in Rotterdam, the yacht was placed directly on a ro-ro trailer. The trailer will now be connected to a truck, which will drive it the remaining distance to the exhibition hall. To get it onto dry land, the team has to build a bridge from the barge to the riverbank.
Now luckily this year, the high river does help us in this maneuver because it means the slope we have to drive off is much, much less, which is a really big advantage. The bridge we're building at the moment has to carry around about 300 gross tons. So it has to be built in a really proper manner, and it has to ensure that there's no movement between the bridge and the barge as the boat comes off.
With the Rhine's current continuously pulling at the barge, they need to make sure it stays perfectly in position for the entire operation.
We put anchors out to keep the barge steady. We also have a tugboat pushing the barge against the current and a push boat pushing the barge up against the shore.
After 7 hours of preparations, the team are finally ready to move El Guajiro off the barge and onto the embankment.
This is probably the most scary part of the operation. The trailer obviously is running across different levels, and it's absolutely imperative that we keep the boat level at all times. One ballast truck pulling around about 50 tons of trailer and about 160 tons of boat. So it is a really, really big move.
After more than 2,000 miles, these last 200 meters are the most complicated of the entire operation.
We're nearly there. We're off the barge. We're on the roadway heading for the halls. Very, very tight. The roadway's quite narrow. This boat's got nearly 8 meters of beam, so it's very, very tight going through the trees. We now have to cross the main road to get into the halls.
A week after leaving the port of Palma in Mallorca, El Guajiro finally arrives in the Düsseldorf exhibition hall.
After so much work, it's absolutely great to see this boat here. We've spent 8 months in the planning,
with our partners, some fantastic partners, putting huge amounts of effort to ensure this boat arrives safely in Dusseldorf. She's now here. We need to put her on the floor, make her look fantastic. Fruition of, as I say, a huge amount of work.
After almost a year of meticulous planning and preparation, the 35M finally takes its place at Boot Dusseldorf.
Everything is finished, everything is perfect. We've spent the last 10 days detail in finishing this product so it looks absolutely fantastic.
For Princess Yachts, the 35M is a flagship product. El Guajiro places the brand at the heart of the exhibition and justifies the great effort made to get her here.
It was worth all the work. We packed down in Port Adriano, as you remember, and here we are today in Dusseldorf, finished, prepared, detailed, looking absolutely fantastic.
For a company who is exhibiting here, it's vital and important to present themselves in the best possible way, and of course to contact directly the visitors and talk to them about the new developments.
As the largest indoor boat show in the world, Boot Dusseldorf is hugely important to the boat and water sport industry. Exhibiting here is an opportunity to come face to face with over 250,000 potential customers. And with more than 1,900 exhibitors jostling for attention, standing out on the crowded exhibition floor is key. In 8 days' time, when Boot Dusseldorf closes its doors for another year, the planning begins to make the Princess stand even bigger and better in 2019.